In our previous video, we learned that whenever we rub any two objects, electric charges are produced on their surfaces. We can prove that by rubbing our hair with a plastic comb and bringing it near pieces of paper. The pieces of paper get attracted to the comb, justifying the presence of electric charges on it. In this video, we are going to learn about the types of charges. Let's start by performing a few simple experiments which you can also perform at home. Let's gather the necessary apparatus first. We need a few simple things for this: a woolen cloth, two identical balloons individually tied to two threads, and two glass rods. In this simple experiment, we first need to hang the two tied balloons so that they are freely suspended. If we get both the balloons close to each other, does anything happen? Nothing at all. Now we rub both the balloons with the woolen cloth separately and bring them near each other. What do you think will happen? Astonishingly, both the balloons repel each other. Yes, they go away from each other. This happened only after we rubbed them with the woolen cloth. We know that whenever we rub any two objects together, they both become charged objects. So both the balloons as well as the woolen cloth also became charged after rubbing. And when we brought these two charged balloons together, they repelled each other. We are not interested in the charge present on the woolen cloth, as that's not part of the explanation. However, we found that two charged balloons repel each other. Now, before reaching any conclusion, let us try the same activity with the two identical glass rods as well. This time, we use silk instead of wool. If we rub both the glass rods with a silk cloth and get them near each other, then they also repel each other. Here as well, each glass rod became charged after rubbing. Now, if I bring one of the charged rods in front of any one of the charged balloon, then what do you think will happen? You would probably say that they will also repel each other. But surprisingly, they attract each other. Yes, they come near each other just like the opposite poles of magnets. Wait a second, did I just say opposite poles? Yes. Are we saying that the charges can be opposite as they attract each other? Absolutely. These two demonstrations tell us that there are two types of charges. In the first demonstration, when we rubbed both the balloons with a woolen cloth, they became charged objects. By convention, we say each of them have a negative charge. Both have the same negative charge because both the balloons are identical and both were rubbed with wool only. When two negative charged balloons were brought near each other, they repelled. Similarly, when the glass rod was rubbed with silk, by convention, we say that it became a positively charged body. And when two positively charged glass rods were brought near each other, they also repelled. This tells us that when two objects, both having the same charge, are brought together, they repel. However, when we bring a positively charged glass rod and negative charged balloon together, they attracted each other. What does this tell us? Yes, this tells us that when two objects each having different charge are brought near each other, they attract. So a question must be coming in your mind now. Do all the bodies develop positive or negative charges? We had already given you the answer of this in our previous video. Whenever any two bodies are rubbed against each other, they both become charged. One of them becomes a positively charged body and the other one becomes negatively charged. When we rubbed the glass rod with the silk cloth became negatively charged while the glass rod became positively charged. Now here is a very interesting question. In this video, you have seen that both the negatively charged balloons repelled each other and both the positively charged glass rods repelled each other, while positively charged glass rod and negatively charged balloon attract each other. So does that mean that only charged bodies attract or repel each other? Remember, in our previous video, we showed that when we bring this positive glass rod in front of pieces of paper, it attracts them. What is the charge on those pieces of paper? Well, they have no charge as we haven't rubbed them with anything. Or in other words, they are uncharged. But they are still attracted by the rod. So this tells us that charged bodies can also have influence on neutral objects. Why? We will cover that in some other lesson. For now, we only need to remember that there are two types of charges, positive and negative. Same types of charges repel each other. That is, if I bring two positives or two negatives near each other, they will repel. While positive and negative charges will attract each other. That is, opposite charges attract each other. In the next video, we will see a device which detects the presence of charge on any object. See you there.